It's a beautiful moment again on Fulfillment with YK on Clevenard TV in the Diaspora. My name is Yinka Abdul. My friends call me YK, and you are welcome once again. You know how we do it. We bring you special people to educate you, to entertain you, to inform you about what is going on in all the parts of the world. So today is going to be another exciting moment because I have a guest in the house. We are going to be talking about something very important to you and to me. As long as you live, your mental health is very important, and we are going to be looking at that. Don't forget that you can use this platform to make the world know what you do. You can market on this platform. You can bring your content. You can do your product, everything we do on Clevenard TV. But before we go into much of this, like I said, you can call me YK. I have a guest in the house, and it's our tradition that we do allow our guests to introduce themselves very much in the way that they love to introduce themselves. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about the person. He's a doctor, he's a consultant, and he has been doing what we want him to do today before now, and he's going to be doing it forever. We pray that he's going to be doing that. Okay, I have in the house someone very special, someone very, very intelligent in what he does. Welcome to the show, Doctor.
Hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Chris Aboje. I'm a clinical psychologist. A consultant clinical psychologist. And I think the way you want to look at it is that I help people be the best that they can be, which means that I help them optimize their mental well-being.
Okay. That's a very beautiful introduction. Like I always say, nobody knows how to introduce you much more like you want to introduce yourself. Today we are going to be discussing about something very important. Like I said, very important to you and to me. We are going to be looking at stress. How does stress affect our mental health? No matter what you want to say it, regardless of where you come from, your skin color, your personality, we all go through stress. Either you're single or you're married. The combination of being a parent and being single or whatever, our workload, everything brings stress to our life. So we need to know how to manage it. We need to know what we are supposed to do and what we are supposed to look out for, so that we will not end up hurting ourselves mentally. So our doctor today will be looking at that for us. Let's start from, what do we even call stress? What is stress? What can I call, oh, this is stress, I'm going through stress?
Okay, so there are a number of definitions for what stress is, and a lot of people have come up with different ways of describing stress. But I think for me, the way I like to describe stress is that stress is a response, and it's a response to perceived threats. And I've chosen this definition because I think that it highlights two things for me. It's one, that stress is a response, meaning that it's a normal response. Every one of us have the ability to experience stress. And I would explain later that stress is actually supposed to be a good thing, right? It's not a bad thing like we all thought it was. The problem is that we have not all learned how to, optimize or manage stress effectively. The second thing I wanted to highlight in that definition is that stress talks about a response to perceived threats, which simply means is that your stress level is dependent on your perception, right? It's how you perceive situations that determine how stressful the situation would be. I also did talk about the fact that it's a normal thing, it's a normal response. And that means that every one of us, our body has been designed in such a way that whenever we perceive a threat or we're going through a difficult situation, our body immediately initiates this stress response. And how does it do it? It secretes chemicals that prepare us to deal with the threats. So it's supposed to be a good thing, like I said, such that your body is optimized to a certain level to be able to manage the difficulties and the situations around you. Now, but when does stress become a bad thing? Stress becomes a negative thing if you perceive that you don't have the ability to cope with it, right? And then number two, to elaborate on that, it simply would mean that the level of situation, difficulties, or stress that you're exposed to exceeds your coping ability. And then the second is when these chemicals that the body keeps on secreting to help you cope with the stress, example would be your adrenaline and cortisol, when it goes on, when your body keeps on secreting them for a long time, which simply means that you are exposed to this situation over and over and over again. Now it can then become harmful, and that's when stress becomes negative. But in the real sense of it, stress was supposed to be positive as a response to help us cope with difficult times and difficult situations.
Definitely. Okay, now you're actually telling us that. Let me start with this. Our level of strength depends on how we see stress or how our body responds to it as well. That means sometimes I might be stressed out with some kind of level of things I'm involved with, and another person in that same shoe will not be stressed out because
Yes.
of response
Yeah.
to it. Is it
Because
psychologically or medically or what?
so the difference is not necessarily your it's the perception, right?
Okay.
It's your perception. And that perception is the result of your experiences over time, right? So let me give an example. If you are a Nigerian living in Nigeria and you are used to, you're living in Lagos to be specific, and you're used to traffic situations, right? So you have to go through one place to the other. You spend hours in traffic. Now that seems like stress to you. Now, if I take you and take you to somewhere else where, you probably spend at most 20 minutes in traffic, while people in that situation are complaining that we're spending 20 minutes in traffic and it's a lot on us, you are wondering what are they complaining about, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because your experience has raised your threshold, and that threshold also of course determines your perception. You don't see it as stress, so your body does not secrete those stress chemicals.
Okay.
Unlike them, they see it as 20 minutes in traffic is a lot of stress for them, and their body starts to secrete those stress chemicals, right? Now, that's basically what it is. It's that your response is determined by one, determined by your experience, which of course influences your threshold, and then number two, how long is this? Are you exposed to this? Because something might not be necessarily stressful to you at a particular time because you have enough threshold to manage it. But if you are exposed to it over and over and over and over again, it might then at some point lead to a stress response.
Okay. Now I get that point. Okay. Viewers at home, I am very sure that you're really enjoying what we are saying. If you're just joining us, this is Fulfillment with YK on Clevenard TV. Like I said, I have a doctor in the house that is looking at how we can cope with stress. Don't forget that you can use this platform to market your products, to expose yourself to the world, especially people from Africa who is looking out to expose themselves to international markets. This is a platform you can use. Okay, doctor, I'm back to you. Now, like you said the other time, that it depends on our experience, that we can actually base our stress level is basically on what we have gone through. So let me now just ask you now that if I end up being stressed out, what are things I should expect? What are symptoms or signs that I need to see for me to know that, okay, I am already stressed out?
Okay, so stress affects every one of us in different ways, right? But I always say to people that stress affects every organ in the body, every organ. And this from your head to your toe, right? There's virtually no organ that is not affected by stress when these chemicals become harmful, right? So now, depending on the individual and depending on the organ or the organ actually that is being affected, you could see that the symptoms to look out for could range from your mood, right? How you feel, so that is something you need to look out for. How do you feel? It could also include body symptoms, right? Body symptoms. Stress can lead to some people experiencing body pain, back, neck pains, waist pains in some cases. It could affect the brain such that the individual begins to experience low mood or even anxiety, increased anxiety or excessive worry, or even persistent headaches. Some people begin to have this headache that refuses to go. In some other cases, it could even affect reproduction. This is strange to many people, but it can
Wow.
affect fertility. It can affect, menstrual cycle in women. In men, it can affect erectile functions. So some men could have erectile dysfunctions or what we call sexual performance anxiety in some cases. And we've also seen cases where it affected fertility, as well, where some couples had to take time off work just so that they are able to conceive. Uh, it could also affect immunity, and this for me is the most important part. Why? Because stress affecting immunity simply means that this person becomes susceptible to other illnesses. So the person can then begin to fall ill frequently, and that's why you find out that some people, when they are stressed, the rate at which they develop certain fever, flu increases. For some other people, stress can even lead to, over time, prolonged chronic stress can lead to high blood pressure. It can lead to high blood pressure. It can lead to pain in the chest. It can lead to even heart attack, and also some concerns with sugar level. We can lead to diabetes as well. So stress affects every organ in your body, and so some of the basic things you should look out for is your mood. Look out for your sleep, right? Stress can also affect your sleep. Look out for your appetite. I would say to people that there are three major things you should always check, or four things. Is you check your mood, check your appetite, check your sleep, and check your body. Are you experiencing any discomfort? And is this discomfort persistent? Those could just be signs that you're experiencing stress. Of course, if we start to narrow it down to certain situations, like in the workplace, for example, some of the signs of stress could include interpersonal conflicts, procrastination. You begin to make mistakes, forgetfulness, poor concentration. Some people get emotional outbursts. So it goes on and on. But like I said, it depends on the situation and depends on the person.
Okay. Because I actually wanted to say something like, I noticed that when I'm stressed out, I have a little bit of short memories. I really remember things. I forget things
Mhm.
very easily, and I have mood swing. That
Yes.
is very sure. Any little thing, I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there. Oh, like you
Yes.
said, it differs for people. Okay, if you're still joining us, this is Fulfillment with YG on Clevenard TV, and I have a doctor in the house educating us on how we can cope with stress. Now, let's look at how can it directly affect our mental health, or what we have been saying now has to do with our mental health. Or let me just say, what do we consider as mental health? Because when it comes to mental health, we think, for me, I said it's huge. But for some people, they narrow it down to some certain things. But you, from the experience side, let's just start with mental health and now look at how stress can connect directly on it.
Okay, so there are two ways I would describe mental health. I would describe mental health first from the WHO's definition of mental health, which talks about a person's ability to actualize their potential, right? Your ability to be the best that you can be, your
Okay.
ability to manage normal stresses of life, your ability to be productive, to be fruitful, and to contribute to your community, right? And I'm sure that some people are already saying to themselves that, wow, there's practically nothing you can do without mental health.
Yes.
And very importantly, I need to emphasize this, that this doesn't talk about illness. It doesn't talk about depression or anxiety or all those things. It just says, see, your mental health is your ability to be the best that you can be or to actualize your potential. Your mental health is your ability to be productive, manage normal stresses, and to contribute to your community, right? So that is a broad definition. But so that we're able to link this to the question you had asked earlier, which is what is the connection of stress and mental health? Is that mental health is your ability to manage stress in the first place. But if I look at the second definition, my second definition talks about more of the components of mental health, which is three things: your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors, right? how do you think? How is your thought right now? How are you processing things? How do you feel? And then how are you reacting to situations? That's what your mental health is all about.
Okay.
That simply means that if you want to really judge how mentally healthy you are, the three things you need to be looking out for are your thoughts, your emotions, and your reactions. Stress can affect these three things. If a person is stressed, what you're going to find out is that it means that the body is secreting stress chemicals like cortisol and adrenaline that affect or increases your body metabolism, right? Which includes your brain. And what that would do is that it's going to affect the rate at which your brain works, your brain functions, which can affect your mood, right? Which is how do you feel, right? It can also affect your cognitive processes, your ability to process things. So you might find that on the days that you're stressed, somebody says something and you're getting angry. But typically, you probably would not have gotten angry. Before now, you probably would just say, and move aside. And this is probably one of the causes of road rage in congested cities. So you're driving, you've been in traffic for hours, and suddenly somebody wants to get in front of you, and then the beast in you is unleashed, right? So your thoughts would is affected, your ability to concentrate on things, your ability to even work. So sometimes you then begin to procrastinate. So these are the ways stress can actually affect your mental health. Now, if this is not managed effectively over time, it can then lead to mental illnesses like anxiety, an anxiety disorder. It can lead to mood disorders like depression, even bipolar, and can even lead to other, mental health conditions like psychosis, schizophrenia, and the likes. Now, why is this? When the body starts to secrete these stress chemicals, like I said, affect every organ in the body, right? They affect every organ in the body. Now, if you are exposed for a short period of time, you are able to just cope with it and move on. But if you have to be exposed over and over again for a long time, it's almost like you are stretching the organ that is concerned, and in this case, is the brain. So what you find out is that some chemicals, neurotransmitters are affected, and that can lead to mood disorders. Like, so the person starts to feel sad, for example, maybe
Okay.
because when they are stressed, they are not able to do their work. So they are procrastinating. Now they are not happy about it, right? Or in some cases, when they are stressed, the body begins to, so your heart is beating faster. A lot of things are happening in your body. And now you're thinking, is there something wrong with me? Do I have a health condition? Now that leads to a health anxiety in that
Oh,
particular case. So you see that it can lead to any mental illness or any mental health concern. But one thing you need to understand is that there's a strong connection between stress and mental illnesses, right? There's a connection between stress and mental illnesses. There's also a strong connection between your mental well-being and your ability to manage stress, right? Because if you I would put it this way: the proportion of your mental well-being is there's a correlation between that and your ability to manage stress. I think that's how I'll put it. So if you're mentally well or mentally healthy, there's a likelihood that you'll be able to manage stress effectively. But if there's something wrong there, that also would affect your ability to manage stress.
oh, okay. Thank you very much for that. Okay. Again, if you are just joining us, this is Fulfillment with YK on Clevenard TV. Don't forget, this is a platform where you can use to sell yourself to the world. You can use it to, your content can be on it. It's just more or less a social media platform where you can sell yourself to the world. The doctor has been talking to us about how we can manage stress, how we can recognize stress when we are exposed to it. And I am sure that you are enjoying every moment of this program. Doctor, let me quickly look into this. Let's assume that already I'm stressed out. What can I now do to relieve myself, even without going out or going to see a doctor or anything, before I end up having anxiety?
Okay, so I think for me, like they say, prevention is always better than cure, right? So for me, the first things that I will talk about before talking about response, is awareness, self-awareness, right? We need to be aware of what our thresholds are, right? Which simply means what can you handle, right? You also need to be able to become aware of your warning signs. What are your warning signs? Some person would say to you that, oh, when I'm stressed, I find it difficult sleeping at night. um, that is a warning sign for that person. Another person will tell you that, oh, when I'm stressed, I lose appetite. That is a warning sign. Some other person will tell you that when I'm stressed, I begin to lose my temper, or I begin to fall ill frequently. Right now, you need to know what is your own warning sign. So become aware of it. Right, become aware of it. Why? Because the body keeps scores. So I say to people that nobody just wakes up one morning and develops an illness, right? Whether chronic illnesses or acute illnesses, the only illnesses that you can just wake up and develop could be infectious illnesses, diseases, sorry. So, of course, that means there's a virus, there's an infection. But outside of that, every other illness builds over time, especially chronic illnesses. And so, no, understand your body, understand what the warning signs are for you. Now, the second thing that I would then talk about is the strategies to maintaining optimal well-being. Now, for many people, stress is, the result of accumulated, or the way I'll put it is, mismanagement of time or mismanagement of energy. And so everybody will tell you that the first step to managing stress, after understanding your triggers and understanding yourself, is learning to manage your energy, learning to manage your time. All right, that's the first thing. Learn to manage your time. Learn the activities to invest your energy in. Learn the activities to say no to. Right. So there's a simple formula that says, first, start with a goal. What do I want to achieve? Right. Anything that helps you achieve that goal and it is urgent, make sure that those are the first things you do every day. If it helps you achieve your goal, but it's not urgent, you can plan for them, schedule them. If it doesn't help you achieve your goal, but it is urgent, you can just ask somebody else to do it for you, right? And then finally, if it doesn't help you achieve your goal and it is not urgent, say no to it. Just learn to say no to it, right? So that's the first thing. Learn to manage your energy. Learn to manage the things that you put your energy to. Now, while you are doing that, the other thing that I would say is be good to yourself, right? And how do you become good to yourself? Your diets, the things you eat, very important, because this things help you in staying healthy in the first place. So watch your diet, eat a balanced diet. Exercise is a very good remedy for managing stress. So because your body secretes endorphins and of course other pleasurable chemicals when you exercise. So exercise, great, as a strategy to managing stress. Then of course manage your expectations, because I said earlier that stress is usually the function of your perception of threats. So sometimes some people are stressed because they put a lot of unrealistic expectations on themselves. It's almost December now, right? Some people are already getting stressed because they are saying to themselves, I've not achieved my goals, right? I've not achieved my goals. And so you need to be able to sit back and review your expectations. Are these still realistic? So that's something you need to do. Learn to focus on the things that are working in your life, because I've seen that sometimes the cause of stress for some people is that they are focused on the things that are not working. They are focused on the bad news. They're focused on the things that everything going wrong, and they ignore the things that are working. They ignore the productivity. They ignore the good news. They ignore the great things that they are doing. So learn to meditate and focus on those things that are working, right? And then learn to connect with people. That is a very strong way to manage stress, because as human beings, we're social beings. So whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, you still need to connect with people. Maybe one person, maybe two people, but you just need one of those two people that you can always reach out to and talk to. Especially when or if your stress is the result of a problem that you need to fix. You need somebody that you can talk to and that can help you come up with solutions. And then finally, I'll talk about creating time. Now, I talked about managing time earlier, but now I'm saying create time for the things that matter. You see, the way that a lot of us live our lives is that we live our lives. So I'll use the analogy of going on a trip. You're going on a trip. The first thing you want to check is your fuel if you're driving, right? Or if you're not driving, you want to check your T-fare. Can my T-fare get me there? That's what you check. But what people do is that people get into the car and they say to themselves, I'm late. When I get to where I'm going to, I'll check my fuel. Because the car here is your body, right? The car is your body. And so you don't just jump into your body and just, you need to check, do I have enough fuel to take me where I'm going to? And so you need to create time for the fuel. The fuel includes sleep, rest, pleasurable activities, the things that will make you feel good, like a massage, for example, right? Like, taking rest, sleeping. I know some people think that if you sleep 8 hours, you're wasting 1/3 of your life. The truth is, you don't have to sleep 8 hours, right? But for me, what really matters is how do you feel when you wake up? Sleep is not a waste of time. So create time to sleep. Create time for things that make you happy, right? Even if it's just getting yourself a bowl of ice cream or chicken wings. Of course, you don't have to do this every day, but do it from time to time to reward yourself. Go for a manicure, a pedicure, a massage, shopping. These are little things that you do to reward yourself. But most importantly, and I'm going to end this, learn to be kind to yourself.
Okay.
Right? Learn to be kind to yourself. Some people call this self-love, but I call it speaking to yourself kindly, because I have seen that one of the strongest stressors is being critical. People are so critical on themselves. They're so hard on themselves, and it's not their fault. It's that they grew up that way. Their parents were hard on them because they wanted to motivate them, and so we grow up being hard on ourselves. But have we found that if you have a friend who is going through something and the friend comes to you, are you going to tell the friend, you're so stupid, why can't you just figure this out? You wouldn't say that to your friend. Rather, you say to your friend, don't worry, you figure it out. You don't worry, you're smart. Don't worry. So why don't you do that to yourself as well? Be kind to yourself, right? I summarize everything that I've said with an acronym. I call it the me time. Me time. That means create your me time. M is meditate on the positives in your life. E is engage with positive connections. And then time. Create time for things that make you happy and help you feel good.
Okay. It has been an exciting moment with Doctor. So if you're just joining us, you have not really missed much. You can go on the YouTube, you can go on the platform and watch this program after the show. But while you join the show now, he has been talking to us about how we are supposed to be nice, we are supposed to be kind to ourselves. Because honestly, if there is one thing we do to ourselves, is how we treat ourselves. We tend to scold ourselves more than we scold people. We tend to give ourselves mandates, targets that on a normal ground we will not actually give it to other people. I always tell people that life is not a competition. So there are some things you just need to let go. If it's not working like you said, you just have to let it go. But at this point, at what point should I see a doctor or a therapist if I'm seeing all these symptoms and I'm trying so hard and it's not working? At what point in my life, at what point in someone's life, you should say, okay, I need to talk to a professional on this?
So for me, right, I believe that everybody should actually have a therapist, right? The only problem is that it's quite expensive. So some people can't afford it, right? And so we don't have the luxury of just jumping into therapy anyhow. However, there are a few things that I think we need to look out for. I call them the 4Ds, right? One of them is distress, right? How much distress are you experiencing? Right? How much distress are you experiencing? If the symptoms I mentioned earlier, if they begin to cause you significant distress, say your mood, for example, your mood is causing you significant distress. Your, say for example, a guy who is beginning to experience erectile dysfunction or sexual performance anxiety, if that is beginning to cause you significant distress, please go talk to a therapist. The second one I'll talk about is deviation. Now, the second D is deviation. Now, what does that mean? Deviation simply means that The symptoms you are experiencing, do they significantly deviate from what you used to be, right? Or what is expected of you? So if I've noticed that normally I would always dress really nice, but these days I notice that I've not been really paying attention to my dressing, that is a sign to go talk to somebody. If, for example, I'm somebody who remembers very well, I have a very sharp memory, but these days I'm beginning to forget things a lot, that is a sign that you need to talk to somebody, right? The third D that I'll talk about is dysfunction, which simply means, are the symptoms beginning to affect your functioning, right? Such that if you're a student, you now notice that you cannot uh, concentrate on your studies anymore. You find out that it's affecting your studies. If you're employed, it's affecting your work. You're beginning to make mistakes, forget things. It's affecting your relationships with people. If you're a father or mother, or you belong to a family, it's affecting your relationship with your family members. That is a sign to go talk to somebody. And then the last one I'll talk about is duration. Duration. How long have you been experiencing this for? So typically, I would say that if these symptoms are causing you significant distress, I would typically ask that you wait for if this goes on for a period of 2 weeks, please go talk to somebody, depending on the level of distress you are experiencing. However, if we are going to say, you know what, it's not so much, then but you keep on experiencing these symptoms, you want to look out for 6 months. So the average duration of time is between 2 weeks, 1 month, and then 6 months, right? I would say that if you're experiencing significant distress that is affecting your functioning for 2 weeks, please go talk to a professional. If it's something that you feel, it's manageable, but you then notice that the symptoms are not reducing after 1 month, please go talk to a professional, right? And then, of course, 6 months simply means that, this thing has been going on and it's affected a lot of things, but you've been trying to cope with it, So those are the periods that I'll look out for: 2 weeks, 1 month, and then 6 months, right? So if the symptoms are so distressing, 2 weeks, please go talk to a professional. If the symptoms, are manageable but they are not reducing, rather they are increasing, 1 month, go and talk to a professional. But if you are still able to cope with it, you're doing a lot of things, you're still managing, but the symptoms are there for 6 months, please go talk to a professional.
Okay. Let me just quickly go into this. What can we do as a family or a friend to support someone who is going through stress?
Ask them. Ask them what you can do for them, right? Many times we want to jump in and solve problems, but the reality of things is that you need the person to guide you on how to help them solve problems or solve the problem. So the first thing that I would say to you is that I would say to them is that when if you have a friend, or if you have somebody who's going through a difficult time, ask them how you can help them. Now, the second thing you can do to them or for them is to listen to them. Listen to them. Let them just talk to you, because sometimes all they need is someone who can listen to them, right? And then thirdly, what you can do is that you can take the initiative. You can take the initiative to look out for things that they might need, and then just help them fix it. Take, for example, if you are married and you just had a child, you notice that your wife is having difficulties with managing your baby, or she's showing symptoms of stress. You can then you can both agree to rotate that schedule, right? You can both agree to rotate the schedule such that you can decide to say, okay, you know what, maybe you take the night shift, for example, and your wife takes the morning shift, something like that. Or in some cases, you can help with the house chores, right? You can help out with the house chores. So there are three things that I mentioned, right? Number one, ask them how you can help them. Number two, listen to them and reassure them. Listen to them and reassure them. Let them know that you are there for them. And then number three, look out for little things that you can do for them. Look out for little things that you can do for them. So, for example, like I said, you can decide to help them with chores, help them run errands, help them financially if you notice that that is the stress that they're experiencing. But look out for little things, be observant. And then I'll say, finally, educate yourself as well. Educate
Okay.
yourself about stress, educate yourself about mental health and mental illnesses so that you can also understand warning signs and then resources. Because sometimes, just asking them might not really do it for you. You might need to go and look out for resources. That means, take for example, if a mother is returning back to work, but she's stressed about where would I drop my child, you can help do the research and say, there are a few crèches around your office. Why don't you drop off your child at the crèche? So you've done a great deal for them already, right? So ask them, listen to them, and help them out with chores, and then educate yourself.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doctor. I have really enjoyed that. I'm very sure that people watching have learned more than one or two things in this. Because, like I always say, we all need this. There is no way you not actually have something that is stressing you out. Even if it's not work, it can be parenting, it can be children, it can be school, it can be financial, any other thing. That's why I said, wherever you are, wherever you're watching from, this is a segment you're supposed to be with. This is a segment you're supposed to click and watch so that you can know how to manage your stress. Okay. If you're just joining us again, like I said, this is Fulfillment with YK on Clevenard TV. Don't forget that this is a platform for you. So what are you waiting for? Bring your content, bring your adverts, bring whatever you have. Come and showcase it on the platform. You will really enjoy it. I can bet it with you. I have been talking to a doctor in the house and we have been talking about stress. He has taught us what we can do as a family to support our friends and family when they're going through stress. He has told us what we can do as a person as well. How we can manage ourselves. We are not supposed to expose ourselves to unnecessary things. It is not a must to do some things. If you feel you are not capable of doing such at that time, just leave it out and guide yourself. So if you're just joining us, you have not missed a lot because he will be rounding up and he will be telling us necessary things we are supposed to look out for, we are supposed to do as a family, as an individual. I will quickly love to say something about this. A lot of people who are single people who live alone, sometimes they just go to work, come back, they don't have anybody to talk to. And when they are stressed out, even their colleagues that are their friends, most of them are single as well. So the little time they do, most people will tell you the only thing I do is just sleep. And you have told us that sleep is not how long, it's actually how well or how restful we are at that point. So if you're a single person, nobody to talk to in the house, and for us in Africa, therapy is not something I can just tap my hand and get. It's not, there is no helpline. If there is helpline, you can just help us drop it. But bottom line is, an average Nigerian will not look at it from that aspect. But as a single person, what can I do alone aside from just sleeping? Maybe
No,
listen to music, or is it different? Or is there any other activities that is therapeutic to human nature that anybody can just tap into it and relieve themselves?
so there are a lot of activities that single people as well as married people can actually engage in, right? I would say that therapy is not just when you're doing talk therapy, right? Which is what people understand by therapy. There are different forms of therapy. Different forms of therapy. There's yoga, for example. There's exercise. There is martial arts. There is boxing. All these things are forms of therapy. I think it was Mandela that talked about how he was able to cope in prison, and boxing was therapy for him. That was his therapy, right? So in Africa, for example, we have found out that our therapy is two things. Our therapy is music and dancing, right?
Okay.
So that's what works for the typical African. An African person would, and that's why religion is very popular in Africa because of this. It provides the opportunity for people to experience therapy. Go sing, go to church, sing, dance, and you feel good. You feel better, right? So these are different forms of therapy. Like I also did mention earlier that massage is a form of therapy.
Wow.
Going to your barber, going to your hairdresser is therapy as well, right? So these are forms of therapy. A manicure, pedicure. Therapy doesn't, and then reading, very importantly, reading books could also be, in fact, it's a type of therapy called bibliotherapy. It's you educating yourself, processing things by reading. So there are different forms of therapy. And writing as well. Writing also is a form of therapy. So journaling, writing down the things going on in your head, in your mind. So there are different forms of therapy. You just need to understand what works for you, right? So if what works for you is music, please, by all means, use music. If what works for you is hanging out with friends, please, by all means, do that. If what works for you is dancing, please put on your music and dance, right? Whatever works for you, just do it. But there is still the place to talk, the place of talking. So understand also when it is time to talk. You need to know when it's time to talk, right? Because talking can also be therapeutic. So know when it's time to talk. But I would say create a lifestyle that allows you to manage stress effectively so that you don't need to get to that point where you're breaking down. Just review your lifestyle. So if you say to yourself that, oh, at the end of every week after work I'm just going to hang out with friends, fine, that works for you. If you say to yourself that, you know what, I'm going to exercise 3 days a week. If you say to yourself that, oh, you know what, whenever I am experiencing body pains, I will just go for a massage. You need to know what works for you and then do it. But there are different things that single people can do. The list is endless. The list is that you can even travel. Traveling is therapy as well. You can just decide to just travel. Some people can decide to check themselves into a hotel and just stay the weekend in the hotel or stay the holiday in the hotel. That's therapy as well. I've had an experience with that. There was a time when I was falling ill frequently, and I had the opportunity to just lodge into a hotel, and I noticed that I was actually sick that day, but I slept and woke up, and all the malaria disappeared, right, overnight. So, and then I knew that when I woke up the next day, I knew that, man, this is stress. This is not malaria. This is stress. So
Oh,
sometimes that's what you need. You just need that getaway, getaway, do something fun. Yeah.
okay. Thank you very much, Doctor. I really enjoy every bit of this with you. So if you're watching from wherever you're watching from, Africa, Asia, Europe, wherever you're watching from, we're saying that I am very sure you're enjoying this program. This is Fulfillment with YK on Clevenard TV in the Diaspora. Like I said, it's a platform where you're supposed to be, where you're supposed to bring your products, you're supposed to bring your content, you're supposed to bring your market, you're supposed to bring anything. We are here for you. I've been talking to Dr. Chris, and he has been talking to us about how stress can affect us or can affect our mental health directly or indirectly, and I've been enjoying it. So what I would say now is that, like he said, just lost yourself in whatever makes you happy. What makes you happy is far different from what makes you happy. And the program is about fulfillment. And when you want a fulfilling life, you have to live a better normal life. Let's quickly go into diet before you go. What kind of food can can actually expose or let me say is prone to stress? Or what kind of food am I not supposed to eat? I've heard some people say don't take carbohydrates when you're stressed out, take protein, things like that. But I am not very sure. I will want you to quickly look into that if it's possible, please.
So when it comes to diet and stress, I think for me, what I would say here is it's not about waiting to when you're stressed and start choosing what you're eating, right? It's you actually creating a healthy diet lifestyle, right? And this simply means you're taking less carbohydrates, more proteins, and more vegetables, more fruits as well. That is what would make up a healthy, diet in that sense. But also being very careful of the quantity that you take, right? That's also very important, because I see that a lot of people, when they have the opportunity to eat, they just eat like gluttons. So what you want to do is that you want to manage the quantity that you're taking, but also make sure that whatever you're eating, the portion that you're eating, is mixed with less carbohydrates, more proteins, more vegetables, and of course fruits. So I usually advise people that if you can actually eat heavy in the morning, as eats a little bit heavy in the morning and afternoon, and then very, very light in the night, very, very light at night. I think that would work. Now, if you some people can even decide to skip meals, but I would advise that if you're skipping meals, make sure that you are taking a lot of fruits. Make sure you're taking a lot of fruits. I think I'll just advise for some people who struggle with sleep because of stress. What you can do is that you can introduce milk, you can introduce yogurt. This helps. But some people react to this thing. So if you react to it, please stay away from it. All right? Stay away from it. But if you don't react to it,
I react to it.
yes, if you
Milk.
don't react to it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
What about
so
people?
I think the other thing that you need to also stay away from would be, a lot of carbonated drinks. Stay away from that. Stay away from a lot of caffeinated drinks, and of course, stay away from alcohol as well. A lot of alcohol, right? Now, these things are not. They are not. It doesn't mean you shouldn't take them at all. But I always
Yeah.
advise people that if you must take them in moderation. And I will not tell you what moderation is, right? Because I'm even of the opinion that you need to reduce that, right? And then secondly, while you take them in moderation, if you want to take caffeine or carbonated drinks, take them, at least a lot of hours before your bedtime. At least 4 hours before bedtime, right? 4 hours before bedtime. But the best thing is stay away from them if you can, right? If you can. But if you can't, take them at least 4 hours before bedtime.
Okay, thank you very, very much for coming on the show. I know your schedule is jam-packed, but I really appreciate the fact that you took time out of no time to spend time with us and educate the world. I pray that we keep seeing this from people like you, because we need to be educated when it comes to mental health, and it's a good job you have been doing. We are praying that God should keep strengthening you on this. If you're just joining us, this is about rounding up because we only have a few minutes more. Don't forget that this is Fulfillment with YK on Clevenard TV in the Diaspora. Like I said, it's a platform for the youth, it's a platform for the old, it's a platform for everybody, regardless of where you come from, Asia, Europe, Nigeria, anywhere. Just come on the platform and take the opportunity, grab the opportunity now that the world is going global, digital. Anyway, Fulfillment with YK will still come on this show. We'll still come to you on this platform. Don't forget to keep in touch with us. Thank you very much, Dr. Chris. I really, really appreciate your time. I'm very glad
Thank you.
that it has not. This is not the first time we are disturbing you with things like this, and you're always there for us. Do you have anything to say to the viewers before we round up? Uh, uh,
Well, I would say this. I'll round up with this, which is that we need to be good to ourselves, right? Understand that stress is not your enemy. Stress is actually your friend, right? But it all depends on how you perceive it and how you respond to it, right? So create healthy lifestyles. And if at any point you're struggling, it's okay to ask for help. Like they would say, it's okay not to be okay. So when you see that you are not okay, it's also okay to ask for help, right? Nobody is Superman, nobody is an island, and so if you're struggling, please reach out.
Okay, thank you very much. That is what they said. If you're struggling, reach out. It's not necessary to be reaching out to professionals. It might be just your friend at that time. You need to talk to someone. Just look around. You will see people. I am very sure that we all need shoulders, fine. But at the same time, we all look out to see someone who will say, okay, I need your shoulder, we will all appreciate it. It's another beauty. It's going to be another beautiful moment on Fulfillment with YK some other time. But before then, let Dr. Chris go. We really appreciate your coming. We really appreciate your time here. And I'm very sure next time if we call you, you're going to be there for us. Thank you very much.
Thank
Ah,
you.
yeah, thank you very much. This is still Fulfillment with YK on Clevenard TV. Like I said, my name is Yinka Abdul. My friends call me YK. You don't forget to reach out to us. Come to the website. Log in. It's as simple as anything. It's as simple as Facebook. It's as simple as Instagram. Any other platform is as simple as that. And it's an opportunity for Blacks in the diaspora. It's an opportunity for us here to showcase what we have outside the country. So we will be seeing you some other time on this same program on this same station. Thank you very much. My name is Yinka Abdul. Don't forget to keep a date with us. Don't forget, we are running a promo. We are running a promo right now, a 1-month promo for anyone who can still join the platform right now. We are going to be giving a lot of bundles, a lot of offers. Don't forget to keep a date with us. Same time, some other time, we will always keep you updates. My name is Yinka Abdul, and this is Fulfillment with YK on Clevenard TV. See you some other times. Bye-bye.